What's up, Crankheads? Toxinator here, and today I'm bringing you some Hololive TCG gameplay. Now, this game was played by me against a friend. I was playing Mono
Hi,
Kanata while
Patty.
my opponent was on Pekora AZKi. Starting off, we have some rock, paper, scissors, which we tie a couple of times, followed by me winning and choosing to go first. Kanata as a deck really excels at any point in the game, but you prefer to go first because it allows you to set up your stage 1s easily. Opening hand is nothing to write home about, but we do get 3 debuts, so we're going to choose to keep and put all 3 down and get started. We don't have the best start just yet. Obviously, the first stage 1 we're looking for is going to be the one that searches for Upao. But we can make do with what we have. Nodoka and Stone Axe should help snipe those early attacks off, and then we can follow that up by hopefully drawing into our stage 2 and then working from there. Waiting on our opponent here. They set up with 3 debut AZKis. They later messaged me and told me that they did mess up by putting the collab in the center spot, but they chose to just run with it. We draw into the second Kanata here, which is great because it means that we pretty much have our game plan online. All we need to do right now is just wait for 3 cheer, and then we can hit the ground running. Starting off, obviously attaching the cheer to our center. Our opponent has no real meaningful way to interact with it, so we can just safely set that up. And then I just choose to collab here to get the holo power in, and after that I just choose to pass. Pretty straightforward turn 1, nothing really to do. If we had an Upao, I would definitely attach it, but we don't, so nothing more to do. Our opponent starts off here. Draws a card for turn and attaches their cheer. Plays out another debut. And is very likely just looking to set up. They do get a first gravity off, which might as well just be a draw for their deck. And they do end up getting 3 AZKis out of that. It looks like they got a first and 2 debuts. They probably would have liked to see more firsts, but really, draw 3, can't complain. They set up both of the AZKis collab just for the holo power and the effect, which they roll a couple of times because the dice function works weirdly on Holo Delta. It is a 6, so they miss both parts of it, and after that they will just pass to us. Alright, starting off our turn, obviously we're going to send the collab to the back and tap it, go ahead and draw for turn, and attach the cheer once again to the center because there's no real threat that our opponent is presenting to our center just yet. We also have the second in hand, so we can go ahead and play around that if they try to get too aggressive. We draw the collab Kanata, which is really great for us here because it just ensures we can snipe some early kills. Over here I choose to bloom into the first, which in hindsight is a bit of a mistake. We'll see that Nodoka does end up drawing the better first Kanata that we want. So definitely should have played out the Nodoka first, then bloomed into the other one. But over here, I'm going to go ahead and bloom the center Kanata. or first go ahead and play out the normal PC to grab a second Collab Kanata. The Collab Kanata just buffs our damage by 30, which again allows us to get some of those early kills in, and allows us to really ensure that we can push damage out later on in the game as well. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and bloom into the Kanata here, and I'm trying to find out if I can indicate that I'm triggering the effect somehow, but it doesn't look like Holo Delta has that option built in yet, so I'll just roll the dice a couple of times. Miss the effect, so nothing happens. Upao here would have been really nice, but I'll just go ahead and attach the stone axe. Over here, another mistake, I attached the stone axe to the other Kanata, which I did not need to do. But I go ahead and collab here, buff the damage by 30, and go ahead and attack into the center AZKi. And just doing some math here on the amount of damage I'm dealing, which looks like is going to be 40 plus 20 plus another 30, which is 90, which is above the HP. And Kanata is going to take 10 from the stone axe as well. Getting 1 life early is great into green decks, especially because they start off with 6. So at this point, because we did go first, we are able to kind of chip that damage out and put that early pressure on our opponent. Yep, just sending a reminder here. It looks like there was a little bit of a lag, so by the time I was about to send the message, they were adding it. And we'll pass it over to them. Our opponent here is likely trying to snipe the first Kanata or the collab, because we do have 2 of the collab debuts set up. It just puts on immense amount of early pressure, which our opponent does not want. And so we will see what they do. They go ahead and draw a card, attach their cheer for turn to the gift AZKi, which is going to become relevant later on in the game. They bloom into the first, which does pose a little bit of a threat to us because we don't have enough damage on board to deal with it, but we have the second Kanata in hand, which does it. They idle Mike to, again, pretty much just draw 4 if they end up finding any AZKis. And it looks like they find 3 AZKis off the top, which is great, including a second and 2 more debuts. They go and collab, likely just to get the Holo Power out. And then after that, they will swing into our center. Yep. 50 damage, pretty straightforward, nothing much. We don't have too much to worry about right now because this is a Kanata. The first Kanata only has half her HP on her, and we have the second in hand, which bumps the HP up to 200. So we are in a fine position at this moment. We would like to get a second Kanata set up because we do have the first just kind of hanging out there with the stone axe, but no big deal because we can definitely get some early kills and life damage in while we're waiting for that. Opponent passes to us. We are going to move the collab back to our backstage, untap the tapped Kanata, draw for turn, and attach the cheer. The Nodoka here is great because we really need more cards in hand. A first Kanata and the second Kanata aren't doing too much by themselves. Gonna go ahead and start by drawing 3. The draws aren't amazing. Normal PC here is great in case our first Kanata gets killed, so we can start setting up a second one. So we go and grab the debut, put it down, and at this point, I believe I go ahead and decide to bloom into the... I decide to just bloom both my Kanatas. So the first will go on to the debut, the non-collab debut, and the second will go on to the center first. Yep, I'll go ahead and attempt to see if there's a way to indicate that I'm triggering the effect, but there isn't, so I'll just, in a second, just send out a chat message saying that center is dealt 30. And just wait for my opponent to do that while I think about how I want to play out my turn. Overall, the hand isn't great here. He did play the Norga this turn, so we can't follow blooming into second Kanata with a manager Chan, but we can definitely wait that out for next turn. Blooming into the second Kanata here, her attack is really interesting because if it deals 50 damage more than the opponent has HP left, then it deals an additional life, which is great because it means we can kill our opponent from 2 health, or we can, as we're doing right now, attack them and force them to attach cheer to Holomems while they don't have a lot of setup going on. Yep, just doing math here. So Kanata by herself deals 100, Stone Axe deals an additional 20, and then the collab effect deals an additional 30. This doesn't deal greater than 50 damage to our opponent, so they only take 1 life here, but this effect will become pretty relevant momentarily. Kanata as well, our center Kanata at 70 damage, which isn't too big of a deal. Especially because our opponent has no stage 1 setup, but her days are going to be numbered pretty shortly. Our opponent moves their collab back and brings out the AZKi with cheer on her. Follows that up by drawing and then attaching a cheer. And then, plays out another debut, again with the gift effect. And while we're waiting for our opponent here, it's a good time to just cover what I plan to do for my next 2 turns. My opponent chooses to collab with the other AZKi, which does get them one of the effects. But on my turn, I'm ideally looking to play a manager John and then draw into the other second Kanata so that I can bloom from one of my firsts, as well as get the third first Kanata in this deck, which searches out Upao. Upao is really relevant for this strategy because it just deals additional chip damage to our opponents, which just fuels second Kanata's ability to deal that additional life damage. Our opponent blooming here into Sora Oz, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage to us right now, but does have a fair amount of HP, and on top of that, also has the ability to draw or ramp, depending on the dice roll. So they attack into our center, they roll even, which allows them to draw a card, and it's pretty clear to me at this point that our center Kanata is going to be getting KO'd pretty soon. So I would ideally like to set up a second Kanata and go from there. Draw gives us nothing but another debut. Our bench is full, so we can't play anything. So I'll just go ahead and attach to one of the first Kanatas. This is attaching to the Kanata without Stone Axe is also partly the reason why I wish I left it in hand. I would have definitely loved to give the Stone Axe to the Kanata I'm attaching Cheer to. Accidentally searching my deck here, but I just want to shuffle and then draw 5 here. So definitely a couple of missequencing things on my end, but we do end up drawing into pretty much exactly what we needed here. The first Kanata, which searches for Upao, and then the second Kanata, which we can bloom onto the first. Gonna bloom the first Kanata here and roll the dice. We do get a 3, so we're gonna search for an Upao. Upao right now just deals 10 additional damage because it's attached to a Kanata, but if our opponent attacks the Kanata, then we get to deal 20 special damage to them. I believe I forget to trigger this effect a couple of times throughout the game, but it doesn't end up mattering too much. Right now, because my opponent is at 4 life, I would like to set up... I would like to deal enough damage to either their center or their collab to deal 50 more than their remaining HP, which deals an additional life to them. So I was just doing the math there, seeing how much I needed. Playing out the sub PC here just to deck thin. It doesn't really matter at this point, honestly. I think I have the game pretty cleanly in the bag, unless something goes super wrong for us. And then once again, just double checking the math on this. Yeah. So 130 HP on the Sora Oz means we need to do 180 damage to it somehow to get the Kanata effect, which is not happening with our current board state. And I choose to go ahead and activate the Oshi skill, which sets the remaining HP to 50. In hindsight, this was a bit incorrect because I honestly should have just used the Holo power here, which just gives my center's arts plus 100. This is a bit complex to explain, but setting the HP to 50 is actually a much better effect than just dealing more damage, and if our opponent and it costs an additional Holo power as compared to the SP skill. So using the SP skill here means on my following turn I would have had the ability to use the regular Oshi skill. But anyway, I choose to go ahead and use the Oshi skill here, which sets the center's remaining HP to 50, and that very cleanly allows me to deal 50 more than their HP damage with the attack, which causes them to lose an additional life and puts them down to 2 life. On my next turn, I'm hoping to do pretty much the same thing, where I use my SP Oshi skill to go ahead and give my arts plus 100 power, and then deal enough damage to ensure that they take the remaining 2 life. At this point, it is very clear that the center Kanata is going to be KO'd on my opponent's turn, because it's at 130 damage. So the goal on our opponent's turn would just be to attach pretty much every cheer possible to our second Kanata until it reaches the 3 limit, and then go from there depending on our draws. I believe my opponent also opted to use their Oshi skill here, which allows them to just reattach all cheer attached to their center to their other holomems. This is going to be relevant because AZKi's attacks cost a lot, but also in return do a lot of damage. So the Pekora's holo power just ensures that our opponent has resources at pretty much any point available to them, has sufficient cheer available to them at pretty much every point in the game. This AZKi, because of its gift effect, can bloom into a second AZKi now, ignoring the stage 1. And I believe my opponent is trying to do that. Yep, they send me a message stating that they are not able to do that. But you'll see momentarily that they are just able to. Oh. Yep, looks like they were able to figure it out. And bloom into the second AZKi. This one is relevant because it deals 50 additional damage to white Holomems, which means it deals 170 damage to pretty much all of our, to every single one of our Holomems. And if they are able to set up a collab, that means they're getting a one-hit knockout on our second Kanata. So we need to seal the game up pretty soon, or we're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Our opponent blooming into the other second AZKi, this one dealing additional damage to blue Holomems, which isn't the relevant part here, but they are just looking to get 2 KOs at this point, which is going to be pretty easy for them. My opponent here accidentally discarding their entire hand. But it looks like they just choose to roll with it. I definitely did not catch this while we were playing through the game. Yep, just doing the math, seeing what my opponent can do here, and they pretty cleanly get a KO on both of our Kanatas, which is actually beneficial for us because it means we get to attach 2 cheer directly from our life. So the first one is obviously going to the second Kanata, and then this is the one where I'm deciding. So doing the math in my head, I believe I figured out here that I can kill the collab second AZKi if I end up doing 40 to it first, and then using the second Kanata's attack alongside my oshi skill to give it plus 100, which should deal more than enough damage to ensure that we get both the life in. So just doing some math here, and I believe it works out the way I want it to. So going to move the second Kanata to the center. Going to draw for turn. Stone Axe here just guarantees it. It's the perfect draw we need. Attaching the cheer to the second Kanata here. Collabing with the first. And playing out both the debuts, not that it matters. Using the SV skill and just reminding my opponent that center deals plus 100 damage. Going in, attacking the collab for 40. And then using our center, attacking the collab for, I believe this is 210, 220, excuse me. Yep. And that guarantees us the game. Our opponent takes the final 2 life, and that will be that. Our opponent's still choosing to activate the oshi skill here. Not that it matters because it's dealing in additional damage, but they reveal a cheer, attach it, reveal the second cheer, and that is going to win us the game. And with all of that being said, thanks for watching.